jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports,
What's good, everyone? Salute to the hottest chat in the MF and game. You already know it's 25. We back with another one that's going to be live. Not going to be on here for an extended amount of time. Shout out to Mike in the building. I see you on deck. What's good with it? We're going to get right down to it, of course. We have to continue to keep the soil nice and ready to put these seeds out here for the ones who want to forget. I thought about really breaking this live down, but I will basically disseminate it throughout the upcoming weeks because, you know, people starting to get crazy again. They starting to act like they clueless about, you know, boxing. They want to act like this is just going to be an easy one. The bell going to ring, Canelo going to go over there and knock out Crawford. And they think that's just going to be it. I know a lot of these cats are trolling. They just happy they're able to talk about something. But see, we knew it was going to be like this. We knew that even fans that don't even support Canelo, that don't like Crawford, was going to still act like they rocking with Canelo. You know, that's what you call fence riders, you know, cowards, ones that don't want to stand on anything. But they'll definitely fall for anything that's said out here negative about Crawford. As you're looking at the thumbnail, you already know what it is. Back then, in a certain amount of year we're going to get to, the one and only Canelo was over in Mexico training and popped dirty when they sent that test. They sent Vada over there to get that urine. Yes, they did. They sent Vada over there to collect the samples, a routine drug testing, as he was set to face Gennady Golovkin in the rematch. Y'all remember? Y'all definitely remember. We're going to take a little stroll as always. But first I want you to hear a little audio of when Mauricio Suleiman was breaking down the amounts and what Canelo's actually tested for and how he, you know, broke down what the drug wasn't. And how many other Mexican fighters have tested positive. And he was really trying to dilute the crap out of it. You know what I'm saying? Really, you know, demonetize it, so to speak. Lower the value. He was trying to give it his prorated opinion. When it broke, man, people was like, oh my God, Canelo tested positive. But he came up there, Mauricio Suleiman, with his prorated, you know, response to say, calm down. We've had plenty of Mexican fighters who tested positive because, hey, the meat over there in Mexico is contaminated. Well, why is he doing a fight camp over there, first of all? Listen to this audio right quick. You're going to hear a familiar voice that does nothing for proving Canelo's point in any other way, shape, or form. If Ryan Garcia tested positive for Ostarine, and it's supposed to be for what, weight loss or something like that, some to that extent, Canelo was you know, that clenbuterol was said to have masking capabilities, a pad that you would take after you did a cycle, to help you cut weight. All of that. Listen in.
And the difference on the time and the way it goes out, it's tremendous. So it was consistent that it was a food contamination case on that specific.
I've talked to ranchers in Mexico and they told me, yes, we do inject our beef or cattle.
Yes.
I talked to ranchers in Mexico and they say we do inject our beef or cattle. Who is the rancher? Who is the rancher? Nobody want to go off that hearsay. They're just like me going ahead and saying I talked to somebody who's seen somebody that know the person we talking about, and they seen him injected right there. Who is it? Just somebody I talked to. I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be hard to get back in contact with him. Come on, bro.
And if you go to the market and they'll tell you, look, this beef sweating, that has clenbuterol. This one does not. I mean, yeah. The water comes out because of the process of what does clenbuterol to the fat.
So Canelo was over there eating sweaty beef. He was eating sweaty beef because Mauricio said the type of beef that sweats, that has clenbuterol in it. And the beef that doesn't, that's the one that's drug-free. But I just heard ES News say that they talked to the ranchers over there and they inject their beef with clenbuterol. So how are you going to be able to see some beef, sample A, that's not sweating, and sample B is sweating? The only reason I'm bringing this up to the surface is that for you all to see the plethora of angles that they was talking about. This is not the first Mexican fighter that Mauricio Suleiman has advocated for. I'm talking about vigorously. We saw it go down with Oscar Valdez too. You know what I'm saying? We saw the same thing go down with Oscar Valdez when he tested positive, when he was supposed to fight Robson Conceição. And they shut that down and said, you know, the fight's still going on. You know, it's just the levels of this, that, and the other. That wasn't clenbuterol. Oscar Valdez didn't test positive for clenbuterol, but Canelo Alvarez did. And also, it was said that he had some points of entry on his abdomen area, or whatever the case may be. You know? I mean, we're going to get to that.
How careful will his diet be if he were to fight in September from here on out?
How careful?
How careful will his diet or
Well, I guess he's gonna eat all vegetables, baby.
Don't they have organic meat there?
And you may have their expertise is train and fight, and they grew up as we all grew up in an environment.
It wasn't meant for me to just let you listen to the whole thing because they're obviously at dinner or at some type of festivities. But I just wanted to allow you, to hear that. Also, I want to show you what Gennady Golovkin has said back in the day. Gennady Golovkin mentioned who has been a soft. I'm reading what I have up here. Who has been a soft-spoken gentleman throughout his career. Couldn't keep his incendiary thoughts to himself after the incident. Speaking about Canelo Alvarez's positive drug test, he commented, I don't think that he's telling the truth. From what I saw, I saw so many doctors. Doctors sent me photos. Just said, look, he's putting in injections to his muscles and used, I don't know where. I don't know why his coach brought him something like pills. This is Triple G prior to the rematch putting this out there. Why wasn't he scolded? As you remember, when they went into the rematch, him and Triple G barely said anything to each other. I mean, Canelo felt some type of way that Triple G stood up and said, you know what? I don't like what I'm hearing about you being a cheater. I don't like that at all. I advocate clean boxing. I've never tested dirty. So these guys supposed to have been so mad back then at one another. They didn't even have a press conference in the same room. It got to a point where it was a little bit soap opera type-ish. When it came to the PrimaDonna, Canelo being mad at freaking Triple G, and he was the one that popped dirty. You know what I'm saying? Let's get on with a little bit of history. Okay? Let's go to a little bit of history back then. This is the AP. Canelo Alvarez tests positive for banned drug, blames Meek. Now, I must say, in reflection, we need to go back to the year March 5th, 2018, y'all. This is after he had tested positive. Middleweight boxer Canelo Alvarez. Yes, Canelo was at middleweight at the time. Middleweight boxer Canelo Alvarez has tested positive for a banned drug, and his promoters blame contaminated meat. A voluntary test showed Alvarez had traces of clenbuterol. A statement from Golden Boy Promotions said the amount was consistent with meat contamination and has impacted athletes in Mexico and China. Director of the anti-doping Daniel agency credited the laboratory that conducted the test, wrote Monday, these values are all within the range of what is expected from meat contamination. So they was all in, grabbing all the violins, fiddles, cellos, trumpets, flutes, saxophones, and playing the same chorus. It says Alvarez is scheduled for a rematch with middleweight champion Gennady Golovkin on May 5th in Las Vegas, a highly anticipated fight after their draw last year. Alvarez will move his training camp from Mexico to the United States and submit to additional testing, Golden Boy said. Clenbuterol, often used by asthmatics, has fat-burning properties, and athletes have been known to use it to help them drop body fat and weight quickly. Among those who have tested positive for it are baseball players Raul Mondesi, Guillermo Mota, champion cyclist Alberto Contador, and number of participants in 2008 Beijing Olympics. What does that have to do with boxing? Who knows? It goes on to say, I am an athlete who respects the sport, and this surprises me and bothers me because it has never happened to me, Alvarez said. I will submit to all the tests that require me to clarify this embarrassing situation, and I trust that at the end, the truth will prevail. What does that mean? At the end, the truth will prevail. You know what I'm saying? What does that mean exactly? You know, the truth will prevail. Alvarez, 27 of Mexico, and Golovkin from Kazakhstan are amongst the best active boxers. Alvarez, whose given name is Saul, he relinquished his previous belts before meeting Golovkin last September, when Alvarez won on one card, 118-110, lost 115-113. On another and third judge had it 114-114. It's tough to comment on it. We're waiting for the Nevada Commission to do their due diligence, Tom Loeffler, Golovkin's promoters, told the Associated Press. We would like the fight to continue if there's any way for that to happen. Now, this goes to show you that a fight of this magnitude coming off the first one, it was a lot of people that was more concerned and focused on the fight. Why? Because boxing is a business. Okay? We can never allow that to get in a way that we just want to slide it up under the stack of papers. Boxing is a business and money runs the business. That right there told you we would like the fight to continue if there is any way for that to happen. Of course they do, because they want to make the money. They want to be able to say that, man, that was a success story. That was a success story. And as you probably heard, you know, recently, Canelo says Crawford only has one fight that stands out on his resume, right? So I look at it like this. Whenever Canelo Alvarez's name is brought up, the first fighter that they attach him to is Gennady Golovkin. It's not Erislandy Lara. It's not freaking Daniel Jacobs. It's not all them other people. It's definitely not Abner Yildirim. It's not anybody that was in his undisputed run at 68. It definitely wasn't John Ryder. It definitely wasn't. It's Triple G. So in reality, Canelo Alvarez, it's only one fighter that stands out on your resume. It's definitely not James Kirkland, Amir Khan, Austin Trout. Yeah, the solid names in the sport, okay. But a fighter that sticks out immediately, they mention Triple G. So when you're out here taking shots at the king, you have to know when they mention your name, Triple G is right there with you. It goes on to say Triple G always has wanted to undergo testing because he hit so hard and is so well conditioned. He didn't want there to be any question on his side. He had wanted both fighters to undergo testing to make for a level playing field as much as possible. So I thought that was a straight, quick to the point of pretty much Triple G getting his, getting his response on how he felt about it. How, those individuals that was in support of Canelo Alvarez and moving him at that time, how they really wanted to get the broom out and sweep it. And that pretty much happened with that very light sentence that he received. He tested positive in February. They retrograded back to February, right? And he was suspended for 6 months that ended in that August. So that's why you see the second Golovkin fight that went down in September. They just gave him a light 6-month suspension. But look at this snippet right here. It says March 15, 2015. It increases muscle mass by increasing protein synthesis. One of the advantages of clenbuterol is that it works wonderfully to reduce the fat, especially in the abdominal and visceral fat, which is normally very hard to achieve otherwise. It is also very good post-cycle recovery drug used at the end of a steroid cycle. I don't know, you tell me. You tell me. Because at the end of the day, they have regular cows over there. You know what I'm saying? And then they have the ones that Canelo reserved. You know what I'm saying? The ones that look like the one he reserved. He obviously looked different. Got all that lean meat on him. Canelo couldn't wait to send that to the slaughterhouse. Couldn't wait. Let's go to this next one. This is ESPN, okay? Canelo Alvarez blames suspect meat for positive clenbuterol test. I'll start right here. Alvarez, who is training in his hometown of Guadalajara, Mexico, provided urine samples on February 17th and February 20th, and both tests came back positive for trace amounts of clenbuterol, okay? According to the letter VADA President Dr. Margaret Goodman sent to those involved on Monday that was obtained by ESPN, clenbuterol has shown up in drug tests for many Mexican athletes in recent years because of meat contamination in the country. Alvarez also said meat contamination caused his positive test. Now, explain this to me, why you say only one fight really stand out to you on Crawford's resume. Why didn't one thought pop out to you? There was previous Mexican fighters that tested positive. Why didn't that one bulb pop on when you was over there training in Mexico and you was eating If that was the case and you knew that the beef was super jacked and you had a fight coming up, why wasn't no one around you able to let you know that you might be jeopardizing yourself? You might be putting yourself in a predicament that these content creators will be talking about in 2025, when you definitely have to step up for your toughest fight in your career. Maybe this is something you might want to reconsider there, champ. Because Canelo usually was training down in San Diego, California. But check this out. This is how I think like Gennady Golovkin thought. He ended up getting a draw with Triple G. So to go in there and enhance your training, sometimes it's not all dealing with the technique, but the procedure. You know, he might have felt, Canelo, that he needed extra read all about it to get him super ready so he can be over there eating the juice meat. You know what I'm saying? He can go there and eat the super juice meat, heavyweight division. You eat one of those burgers with the guap on it. I mean, you start to turn a little bit bluish green. You start feeling like a Marvel comic. It goes on to say, as part of the involuntary test program that Canelo Alvarez insisted on ahead of his May 5th fight, one of the results came back positive for trace levels of clenbuterol, consistent with meat contamination that has impacted dozens of athletes in Mexico over the years. Golden Boy Promotions Alvarez promoter said in a statement addressing the positive test, as Daniel, director of the Sports Medicine Research and Testing Laboratory, the WADA accredited lab that conducted the test, stated in his letter Monday, these values are all within the range of what is expected from meat contamination. Upon receiving this information, Golden Boy immediately notified the Nevada State Athletic Commission and Gennady Golovkin promoter Tom Loeffler. Okay? They was pushing for those levels to be in accord with contaminated meat, for those levels to be within the range of contaminated meat. In a letter WADA sent disclosing the positive test, Goodman said she had spoken to Nevada State Athletic Commission Executive Director Bob Bennett, and that the current plan is to continue to test Mr. Alvarez so that the Nevada State Athletic Commission can make a final determination. Mr. Alvarez has the right to promptly request analysis of the B sample at his expense. Once again, it costs money, right? At his expense. But all I hear now is that Crawford's fighting for a freaking payday. But everything costs. You know, everything costs. Sanctioning body has to get their 3%, all that. But Canelo Alvarez paid the price. If this was clearly a mistake, and Canelo wouldn't dare admit or take a plea to that, he was suspended still for 6 months. So if, you know, all this newsworthy information is floating around him from Mauricio Suleiman and from them saying, hey, it's within the range of contaminated meat and stuff like that. If all these people was coming up with these results and these test findings, why was Canelo Alvarez still suspended? Why did they continue to press for punishment if clearly you're saying the meat was contaminated? You have content creators talking about they walked out on the farms in Mexico. Hey, I walked out there and asked the ranchers, do they inject their meat with clenbuterol? They didn't ask him who he was or why he was asking those questions. They just said, oh, I see you have a camera. Yeah, sure. You want me to take you back and see our prime livestock? Oh man, they're a beauty. Muscled up from head to the rump. They muscled up. They was consistent with saying that the findings was in range and in line with meat contamination, but yet they still suspended him. How is that? How can you put out all this information that it was within, and you still suspend the man? Why? Let's go on to what Alvarez said. He was embarrassed by the positive test, y'all. He said, I'm an athlete who respects the sport, and this surprised me and bothers me because it had never happened to me, Alvarez said in a statement. I will submit to all the tests that require me to clarify this embarrassing situation, and I trust that at the end, the truth will prevail. You know what I'm saying? According to Golden Boy Promotions, President Eric Gomez has been Alvarez has been undergoing random testing administered by VADA or the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency for his past 12 fights dating to his 2012 decision win over Shane Mosley. He's been tested many times and never had findings. Nothing. And every fight, they test him 10, 15 times. At least a dozen times, y'all, Gomez said. This is something Canelo insists on. We were confident that everything is going to be fine. We're very confident everything is going to be just fine. Right? We will do our due diligence, and once it's done, we'll let it be known whether we're going to move forward with the fight, Bennett told ESPN. Of course you are, because it's a lot of money in that. Now pay attention to this part now. In 2012, Eric Morales blamed contaminated meat for his positive test ahead of the rematch with then junior welterweight world champion Danny Garcia in New York. The fight went ahead, and Garcia sent Morales into retirement with a 4th round knockout. So I guess, him being on clenbuterol didn't help him win the fight, unlike certain other fighters that's trying to put it all on. Anyway, in 2016, then junior lightweight world title holder Francisco Vargas, also from Mexico, tested positive for clenbuterol during his training camp for the fence against former title holding countryman Orlando Salido. California State Athletic Commission, in consultation with both fight camps, allowed the fight to go on because the panel gave Vargas the benefit of the doubt that the bad test was because he ate tainted meat in Mexico. Ooh, woo. Boy. When I was looking up this Canelo information, you know what I didn't find when I put in a Crawford testing positive? I didn't find any results. 0. But yet, Canelo Alvarez is up here saying that Terrence Crawford has only one fight that stands out to him. You know what I'm saying? What would bring him to say such? Is it just he's taking jabs from afar because he know once the bell ring, it's going to be a bit tough for him to fight at distance with the champ? Crawford had this to say to Canelo Alvarez. LOL, that's crazy. So every fighter I fought is not good, but one. Noted. Just remember what you said, because I've always had the joy of making somebody's look like nobody's. And that's, hey, I believe him. He also put this tweet out there. He said, some of y'all be talking crazy on here. Like if y'all knew what I know, y'all would be shh. Y'all would be quiet. Now, don't get it twisted. WCS has been around the game for a minute. And I understand that this is only the beginning. You know what I'm saying? To start spinning those axles when it comes to trash talking. That's what's going to make it even better. Even though both fighters have fights before they step in at the latter part of the year, it's only gonna increase. It's only gonna increase. It's gonna be good for the sport, but it's also public record for somebody like myself to speak on a fighter like Canelo Alvarez, who a lot of people just give the check in the box because they're blind. They can't see him degrading. They can't see him getting beat by Terrence Bud Crawford at the end of the year. They can't see it because they're not trying to see it. It's called denial. I remember listening to people say he's not going to win. You know, he's just too small and all this other stuff that was going on. And the way he beat Spence, they never thought he could beat him up like that so easily. But you would think a lesson seen, right, is a lesson learned. A lesson that's seen is a lesson learned. We seen the lesson play out in front of us, but I guess that kind of wear off and people got bored. So the fact that they was in denial and they had their rejection pen in their hand, you know, busy Xing boxes, they didn't think the fight with Terrence Crawford would ever come to fruition. Well, you know, obviously the glass has been repolished. The crystal ball is looking better than it ever has. And supposedly they fighting at the end of the year. Now, with that said, you have individuals going in here and just basically saying, no, it's no way his weight classes. He's going to get slept and all that. And that's to be expected. But I want to ask you this. This is all I want to ask you. Those of you that's looking at it, that you can't see Canelo losing. Do you believe what you're saying? Because I believe that Crawford can go in there and beat Canelo. I believe. But do you believe that the fight is going to be easy as you think with Canelo going in there and knocking out Crawford? Do you believe that, though? Because y'all talk about how what Bivol said and how Canelo lands such single hard punches. Do you believe that when it comes to boxing IQ, that both fighters are going to have to be at their peak to fight one another? Their levels of strategy has to be absolutely accurate, very punctual. Do you know the collection of data? There can be no delay. If you have to make adjustments, it has to be done. Do you know this is going to be one of the more high-level fights that we've been able to witness, with two camps where both of the coaches, trainers are respected at the highest level and the fighters the same? Come on, this is incredible. But you have some of these people that will continue to say, well, Canelo's going to be this, Canelo's going to be that. You're going to have a lot of so-called friendships and people that you thought you had a decent rapport with. They're going to try to leave you behind, man. Why? Because they're not strong enough to know it's just boxing talk. Internally, they're frail. You know what I'm saying? They Jello pudding soft. They can't handle the type of weather that goes along with talking this boxing and combat sports. They can't handle it. You all need to come up with something different when you say it's just kissing ass and D-riding. You all are the D-riders because you keep the letter D in your mouth more than you do your girl's nipples. That's what you need to focus on. You all spend too much time into the AM having these kick-up debates, right? And all thing y'all want to do is get mad at each other and start talking about S my D. This fight is bigger than all that. And I would think some of the same people I keep hearing going through that same shit, I thought several years they would be able to retire, but this is a big fight. I'm going for Terrence Crawford for the decision win. Now, yes, it'll be that much more special if he gets the TKO just like he did Spence, of course. Maximum confidence that he's different. You know, like, I'm looking at this era where they believe that superheroes need to look a certain way. You can take a comb and run it through their hair and style it and then cut on a fan and say, ready, On 3, 2, 1, action. And you know they cut the fan on, and the fan's blowing through their hair. The cape is flopping flying in the background. You know that's how some people see their superhero. But it's hard for them to see a superhero that's right here in front of them, who, if you cut the fan on, his hair is not going to blow in the wind. But you continue to see, you know, super type actions. Like check this out. You know, like I say this all the time, that people talk to me off you know, off record or whatever. You know, I'm speaking regular. You know, like I'm really not into my dictionary like I would be. I'm chilling. But I've had people tell me that certain individuals that I thought was cool with me don't like me because, you know, don't talk to me as much, or don't like who I am, all because of English. I say, you gotta be kidding me, bro, because, you know, I'm chilling when I'm just kicking them when I'm not. But yes, I purposely use English because you have to have a moment to practice and continue to get better and better. That's how I always been with it. But why would anybody get mad because it's English? And then they get mad on how I'll do some storytelling on, you know, my favorite fighters. They say I'm sarcastic. It's bullshit. It's over the top. Well, look at the temperament of me having fun talking about my favorite fighter, and how angry you are listening to me talk about my favorite fighter. So who's more stressed, bro? Like, y'all need to think about something that's more conducive to your health. Like, some of you old cats out there be goddamn popping them blood pressure medicine off camera and chasing it with some freaking Fanta or Sunkist. Blood sugar all fucked up. But there, you know, some people tell me, hey man, so-and-so, you know, he said he don't come see you on your channel because, you know, he don't like when you be doing all that damn big word shit. I said, man, we're talking about the biggest fight, man. Let's stay on topic. We're talking about the biggest fight in boxing. We're talking about Crawford going in there defeating Canelo. Don't try to make it about race, goddammit. Don't make it about race, because he just fought Mel Charlo, and the black fight fans didn't gather or congregate any more than the Mexican fight fans. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear it all because it's from Omaha, and that monster is about to go in here and take care of Sergey Daryanchenko, be 42-0, and then Canelo is going to be 43-0. And then we'll be able to celebrate once again. You know what I'm saying? Have a parade and basically reflect on another great fight and history being made. You know what I'm saying? I mean, clearly, what would be better than Crawford fighting Canelo and being put right back #1 on the pound for pound list, and that be his last fight? Come on, man. Somebody goddamn tell them to start the chorus on that shit. Somebody find the conductor so we can get this music playing. I'm not gonna hold y'all too long. I'm not. I just wanted to come over here and show you that we shouldn't forget that Canelo ordered 2, not 1. He wanted 2 of the Jack Bulls. You know what I'm saying? The Jack Beef Bulls. You know what I'm saying? He wanted 2 of them motherfuckers. When he just saw 1 going out, he said, I'm not impressed. I ordered 2. I wanted to be transparent when that beef is coming in. I don't want to have to wait for you all to wait several more weeks for that other bull to get. Oh, no. I want it now. Have my bull ready. Carlos Rosado on deck. What's good with it, bro? Man, his burrito wasn't tainted. It was the substance that he had when he took the clenbuterol, you know, that was tainted. You know what I'm saying? Happy MLK, y'all. For sure, Carlos. Shout out to Carlos Rosado in the building. What up? What up? Bud gonna spank that boy if Canelo ever take take his thong off. Hey, man, why are you doing that, man? Why are you putting that man in a thong like that, dog? They're already making excuses talking about Snack. Yeah, I'm glad they talking about Snack. Real talk. The more the better. So Crawford can wear that mask. You know what I'm saying? The more the better. You know, so Crawford can keep on the mask as the bad guy. Because you're gonna see a lot of them Canelo, you know, bandwagon riders jumping on because they hate Crawford. A lot of aerosexuals, you know what I'm saying, coming up for breath. You know, them bunkers can get real musty down there. They're gonna come up and start, you know, volunteering their efforts to go ahead and troll. But yeah, it's cool. Have them talk about Snack. What they gonna do? It's not Crawford fight that they let Victor Conte in the boxing. It's not his fault. The Reals, what's good? I see you. You know what I'm saying? It's not his fault. Real talk. It's not his fault, people. It is what it is. But I definitely say check out Spaces, man. I gotta run to Space. You know, McCombie is over there being interviewed on D Block Space. Check it out. And he's gonna have Evan Toller on there again. So shout out to the hottest chat in the MF game. Appreciate y'all for pulling up. And guess what? This ain't the end, shawty. You know, I just want to sprinkle. These are just the little sprinkles. We got a full 8+ months. Appreciate the support from all y'all that show up and show out, man. I appreciate you. Until next time, I'm out.